Right, so welcome back to this particular project. So in the previous session, we had a visualization of the correlation analysis. Okay, we did some correlation analysis. So in this part five, we are going to go deeper and we're going to look at, let's say you want to visualize the monthly air quality trend of this particular data. So we want to view the average ozone by month. That's what we wanted to visualize. And for us to do that, we just need to do the following. So I'll call this is my number 11. Yeah. So my number 11 is monthly air quality trends. So that's what we want to explore. So that will mean that we want to do, of course, the average by month, the ozone average by month. So that's what we want to do. Ozone average by month, average ozone by month. So we will use average method, aggregate. We'll use aggregate method. So we want to aggregate ozone aggregate ozone by month. Aggregate ozone by month. Okay, and in data, we will call the clean, the air quality clean. And of course, we want to aggregate this by the mean of every month. So we'll do the aggregation. Let me see, aggregate. See, the problem here. This is supposed to be a comma. Yeah. Okay, I'll rerun again. Okay, so we can see that our output is as follows. So month 5, month 6, month 7, month 8, month 9. We have aggregated our data as accordingly. So from here, we have been able to see that. So for us to be able to do the visualization, then of course now we want to store this aggregate. Okay, so we want to, for us to visualize this, we want to kind of store this aggregate in a variable. So we can call it monthly ozone. So let's store this in a variable, call it monthly underscore ozone. So we can store this value in this particular variable so that when we want to call these values, we can call it directly from this variable. So I'll rerun again. So we have stored that value. Now we can even check that is actually stored correctly by just calling this variable. You can use the print function or directly call the variable here, and R will execute the values that are stored in that particular variable. So now, once we have this now, we can go ahead and now have a bar plot of this trend, and maybe you can now tell from whatever we'll be able to see which month experienced the highest ozone level. That's something that we can get as an insight from this particular data. So I'll do a bar plot. So I'll have a bar plot here. I call bar plot. And now we see that we have ozone here, month and ozone. So bar plot of monthly ozone. And then I'll call the variable ozone because we only have two variables here. First one I'll call ozone, and then the names that we can use to argument, we want to use the months. That's why now I'll have names here dot arg. So we want to argument the names of these particular bar plots, of course, to be used as our columns. We are going to call now the monthly ozone. Now we'll call the month. Okay. And then once we call the month, we can give the color of our bar plot. So color of our bar plot can be, let's say, dark green. Okay. And then maybe main, to give a title to our plot, is average ozone by month. Average ozone by month. Okay. So now we can execute this bar plot to see the visualization we are going to get. Okay. Now you can see a nice plot as a result of this particular analysis. We have generated here a monthly trend of average ozone. Okay. So ozone has been aggregated by average monthly. So we can also save this as an image, and you can just save like this, and you will now have it, put it in your report and report about it. Okay. Now, from this, we can tell which months experience the highest ozone. Of course, we can look at the values. Month, which is October, and July experience the highest ozone levels. Now let's at least build one visual from ggplot, which is usually good at building dashboards with R. So let's explore this, like now advanced visualization using with the ggplot. So that means we'll need to install a library called ggplot. If you don't have, just confirm. If you don't have, first you can just try load the ggplot2 library. If you miss it, you will need to install it. So you'll go to, okay, let me see, library. Okay, ggplot library. Just confirm that is correct. So ggplot was built under that. Okay, so my ggplot is already in, so it has accepted to be loaded. If it's not in, you'll be told that there's no package like that. But if you don't have, you will need to install. So just come here and install package, install dot packages, and just give the ggplot2 in quotes. Run this line of code first, and then you'll come and then execute again here. Okay, so quickly, ggplot. Of course, we'll explore this ggplot in details, but if you want to learn R foundations, you can check academy.beyonddataict.com to learn R foundations until you reach to ggplots. So that will form a nice foundation for you. Okay, so let's say we want to plot temperature and ozone and ozone, just the way we had plotted for our box plot. It was a scatter plot. So we'll call temperature and we'll call ozone. Then of course we will add. So we will add geom. So don't worry if you don't understand the ggplot2, but we'll explain this in a separate video. But you can also check academy.beyonddataict and enroll into that program. You'll be able to learn the foundations of R. So we are loading linear model just to combine what we had done in the previous parts. And theme, minimal, theme, say minimal. Okay, and now from there we can go to the labels, labels, you can have title to this particular plot, temperature versus ozone. So let's say let's look at temperature was one of the variables that had a higher relationship. I think it was followed by, let me check if we can see, it was followed by so maybe we can plot, yeah, wind and ozone. Let's see. Yeah, let's plot wind and ozone. So we'll call this wind speed, and we will call, because we had already visualized temperature in the other visual, we can call this wind wind, yeah, and then of course now this will be now wind speed versus ozone, so that at least to explore another variable. Yeah, so once we have that, we can be able to execute our code. Until it's done, we'll be able to see that visual here. And you can see from this visual is a very modern and very nice to view visualization, showing that there is a negative relationship between ozone and wind. Okay, ozone and wind. So when wind speed increases, the ozone concentration decreases. That's what we are able to see here from this data. And this is also supported from this initial visualization we had, that there's a negative correlation. Though it's kind of strong because the value is around, when you look at the values from our correlation plot, it was around 6 there, almost 6. Yeah, so negative, almost, it was negative something, negative 6 there. Can go to those values for the correlation matrix. It was part of the correlation matrix output, this one here. So you see wind negative 0.61, very strong. So this becomes very insightful. Now, we have noted in this session that ozone increases as temperature rises. We also noted that some variable containing missing values were had to handle by dropping them. We also noted that some months have worse air condition than others, air quality than others, when we plotted the bar plot. And the wind speed also tends to have a negative relationship with the ozone concentration. Now, as part of your, of course, exploration, I want you to look at the following. 1, identify which month recorded the highest temperature. You can comment in the chat section once you are able to execute. Tell us which month recorded the highest temperature. This assignment will be in the description. This is now the last part of this video, of this project, but I want you to explore which month recorded the highest temperature. Also explore which variable has the most missing values, and just respond in the chat section, in the comment section. And also, does wind speed increase or decrease ozone concentration? I want your insights also on this. And also create a box plot for temperature. So I'll have this in the description of this video. So just check it out and try if you can be able to answer those questions as you respond in the comment section. Thank you, and see you in the next project.